Welcome to the Lingua Loom. Today's topic is principles and parameters, also known as P&P. Let's start with the problem that created P&P. Let's begin from the real question that drove everything. How does a child acquire a complex grammar so quickly, with limited and imperfect input? This is known, in linguistic literature, as the poverty of the stimulus problem, discussed across Chomsky's works, especially clarified conceptually in Knowledge of Language, Its Nature, Origin, and Use. Let's discuss the problem in detail. A child hears incomplete sentences, hears mistakes, gets no formal grammar instruction. Yet, produces grammatically correct sentences, understands structures never explicitly taught. Therefore, input alone is insufficient to explain language acquisition. Now let's discuss Part 2, the 1981 Revolution. That is the Lectures on Government and Binding. This is the technical birthplace of principles and parameters. Before this, grammar was considered as the sets of rules each language described separately. Chomsky changes the direction and questioned, instead of learning many rules, what if the mind already contains a universal system? Let's focus on the major part of P&P, universal grammar, also known as UG. A universal grammar is an innate, biologically given system of linguistic knowledge. This includes structural principles, constraints, and possible forms of grammar. Key claim of UG is, humans are genetically equipped for language. This idea is explicitly argued in the work, Knowledge of Language, Its Nature, Origin, and Use. Important clarification to remember, UG is not a specific language, not English, not Urdu, not a list of words, and is not learned. UG is a system of possibilities and a mental blueprint. Part 4. Principles, the universal core. What are principles? Principles are invariant rules of grammar shared by all languages. They come directly from UG. Examples. First, structure dependence. Rules operate on structure, not word order. Example. Question formation depends on hierarchy, not linear position. Second, X-bar structure. All phrases follow a similar internal structure, already developed in GB and assumed universal. XP consists of spec plus X-bar. X-bar consists of X plus complement. Third, locality constraints. Movement is restricted, developed further in Barriers, 1986. Key insight is that no human language can violate principles. Part 5. Parameters, the source of variation. Now comes the most powerful idea. What are parameters? Parameters are limited points of variation within UG. Think of them as switches, having settings and options. Key properties include finite in number, predefined in UG, and set during acquisition. Classic example is of pro drop parter. In Italian, subject can be omitted. And in English, subject should be present. The question that rises is, what happens in the child's mind? UG provides both options. Input determines which one is selected. Deep insight is that language learning equals parameter setting, not rule learning. Part 6. Language acquisition. Let's make this fully explicit. Step 1. Initial state, UG, child is born with principles unset parameters. Step 2. Input exposure. Child hears sentences patterns. Step 3. Parameter setting. Based on input, switches are fixed. Step 4. Final grammar. Child now has a complete internal grammar. Where is this explained? Technically in Lectures on Government and Binding, 1981, and conceptually in Knowledge of Language, 1986. Part 7. I-language versus E-language. Introduced clearly in the work, Knowledge of Language, Its Nature, Origin, and Use. I-language, internal, which is mental grammar, individual, and cognitive system. E-language, external, is actual speech, social usage, and observable data. Key insight is linguistics should study I-language, not just E-language. Part 8. Relation with GB theory. P&P is not separate, it operates inside GB. GB provides case theory, binding theory, bounding theory, and X-bar theory. P&P explains why these systems exist universally, how languages differ minimally. Part 9. Limitations of P&P. Chomsky later identifies problems, too many modules, still complex, and redundancy in rules. Key question that rises is, Can language be explained with fewer principles? Transition to minimalism. This leads to Minimalist Program, 1995, where principles are reduced, parameters reconsidered, and operations simplified, which is merge. Universal grammar provides the system. Principles define universal structure. Parameters define variation. Acquisition sets parameters. Language emerges from interaction of all three. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and share.